The first great truth of sales and marketing. Look, I'm creating a list right now, the 100 great truths of sales and marketing, and none of them are in any order except for the first one. This is the only one that's in any order here. It's first for a reason. And it's the fact that you've got to take total responsibility for your sales and profits. All of the money that you make or don't make, you have to take total responsibility. Now, it seems like a simple thing, and yet salespeople screw this up all the time, and entrepreneurs and sales managers screw this up all the time too. So salespeople, look, every meeting that I've ever had with my salespeople, well, that's probably 1 out of every 3 meetings, okay? My salespeople have heard this over and over and over and over again. You don't work for me. Even when I had a sales team that was all under my employment, I wanted them to get the idea in their head that they were all self-employed. And so they knew what I wanted to hear, that who do you work for? I work for myself, but they weren't really practicing that. They still had this idea that they worked for me. They never took ownership. They never saw themselves as you incorporated. And that's how you have to see everything. You are in charge. You have to take total responsibility, because until and unless that happens, you're always going to blame somebody else for your low performance. If your sales suck, it's always the company. They're not giving you enough good leads, or they're not, whatever. It could be any excuse. And until and unless you do take total responsibility, you'll come up with all kinds of excuses. And it works the opposite way also on the other side. There have been many, many, many times when I was so dependent on my salespeople that I blamed them. I blamed them when the sales were poor. And I did not take ownership myself. And only until, I went through a really bad time with my business a few years ago. It was one of the worst times that I've ever faced. And we could barely make payroll sometimes. We were struggling just to make payroll. And that was the first time in the history of our company that ever happened. And what did I do? I violated this rule. I did not take full responsibility. I didn't take charge. Only when I did, only when I turned it all around and took full charge, got rid of some salespeople that had to go, and made some strong decisions, and really just took responsibility, taking total responsibility. Only then did things turn around. And that's how I learned this lesson. Now, I didn't realize that I was violating this rule, and you may not either, but look, if you're not making the money that you need to make, look in the mirror and point. Because it's your fault. You need to take complete and total control of the entire sales process. And you need to take responsibility. And if you've got salespeople working underneath you and they're not performing, get rid of them and find people that will perform. I know it sounds simple. Everything that I say sounds simple. And yet, in the end, this is the first great truth here. So our methods work even if you're not self-employed. You can use all of the methods, the 12 pillars that we teach in the stay home and sales method. You can practice all of that and work for another company, but you're really working for yourself. You are self-employed. You must take ownership. You must take responsibility. Quit blaming the company, quit blaming your sales manager, quit blaming any of the promotions that the company's running or whatever. If it gets too bad, just leave. If you just can't handle it, that's still taking total responsibility. You're leaving. You're saying, screw it. I can't handle this anymore, and you're moving on. So look, anytime you play the blame game, and we all have done it, It's part of our nature as people just to blame others. But whenever you do that, you just make yourself weak. That's all you do. And you're never going to achieve the kind of success that you should and could achieve, the success that you deserve to achieve, until and unless you take total responsibility. So if you are a student of mine, hopefully I've got all 100 of my great truths done, and they're on the membership website. And I hope you'll study those, and we'll keep referring back to those great truths in all of our teachings and all of our training. If you're not one of my students and you want to know more about what we're doing, just click on the link below if you're watching this on YouTube or somewhere else on the internet. I thank you for listening to this, and I hope you'll take total responsibility. This is the most, if there was just one great truth, and I had to choose from all the different things I've learned over the last 35 years, I think this would be it. Taking total responsibility. So that you're in charge, you're not blaming anybody, and it's a position of power. Even when things happen that are way outside of your control, you're still taking total responsibility for your reactions to it. So there's so many things that happen that are way beyond your control, and yet you still have that taking total responsibility for your actions and your reactions to whatever comes your way. So, taking total responsibility. Thank you very much for listening to this. If you're one of my clients, I'm extremely grateful for you. If you're not one of my clients and you want to know more about what we're doing, click the link below, and bye for now.